Hi, my name is Allison Neville. I'm a graduate student at the University of West Alabama, and I am completing my master's degree in special education K-6. Today, I will be presenting Stage 2 of my signature project that was started through Stage 1 in a prior course at the University of West Alabama. Stage 1 of my signature project focused on finding if there was a link between improvements in reading proficiency and listening to classical music while reading. What caused me to conduct this research was that I noticed a high percentage of students did not meet or exceed benchmarks on STAR reading proficiency. It seemed like the largest areas of struggle for these students were with comprehension and the ability to stay focused and not become distracted while reading. This is why I sought to determine if listening to classical music while reading could increase their proficiency by allowing them to focus easier and exhibit better comprehension. On this slide, you'll see some of the original data collected in Stage 1. The data in the picture on the left-hand side shows data gathered from Center Middle School's 6th grade STAR assessment. It presents that over half of the school's 6th grade population tests below benchmark in reading. The blue and the yellow and the red all show those below the benchmark. As you can see, these areas greatly outweigh the green or at or above benchmark students. The data pictured on the right-hand side shows the 2018-2019 Scantron test results showed that only 41.9% of Cherokee County Schools' students population tested proficient in reading. This is relevant to the study since Center Middle School is in Cherokee County and the second largest school in the county. This shows the issue is not only being relevant to our school at 6th grade level, but a district-wide issue as well. This slide shows a summary of the background investigation of this study. The study has not been implemented, but if it were to be implemented, it would be at Center Middle School. This school is a Title I school with around 500 students enrolled. There are approximately 102 students in 6th grade, which is relevant to the study because this study would be conducted with 6th grade students at Center Middle School. The action plan for the study will begin with sampling. The sampling method used for this study, if it were implemented, would be random sampling. The sample includes 60 students from grade 6 selected at random. The research will be conducted through a quantitative study using the STAR assessment and accelerated reader test results to collect data. The selection process will be a sample of 30 students from each experimental group chosen through a simple random sample. As far as how the STAR assessment would be administered and how the experimental groups would look, all students in 6th grade are required to participate and drop everything in read time at various times in separate classrooms. And all students in grade 6 must take their STAR assessment there and will be a viable pool for results in both those listening to classical music during drop everything and read time and those who will be in a silent room. For instrumentation, quantitative research methods would be used in the study through STAR reading and collecting data from that assessment. Over the next few slides, I will be discussing the action plan. The first slide discusses collaborative efforts. One of the main collaborative efforts for this proposal would be the collaboration of the 6th grade teachers. They would all have to agree to participate and drop everything in read time at the same time each day, and agree that this time will solely be dedicated to this activity and monitored. They would also have to have the ability and agree on playing classical music in their room during this time should they be chosen for the experimental group that reads with classical music playing. This proposal is intended to take place over a semester, so teachers would also have to agree to continue to diligently perform the study throughout the entirety of the 2 9-week periods. Collaborative efforts with the Reading STAR program would also be necessary, where internet connection would be provided through the school district and the data collected would be provided through the STAR program. The second slide under the action plan would be the procedure for the study. The procedure for implementing this would begin after the initial administration of the STAR assessment, and the test would take place at the end of the first school 9-week period. After gathering the initial data, I would send home letters to parents obtaining their consent for their students to participate in the study. While waiting on the letters to be turned in, I would go ahead and meet with fellow 6th grade teachers to discuss how Drop Everything and Read Time should look and discuss my expectations of this time. Once all of the letters have been received from the students and the expectations for Drop Everything and Read Time have been established for the fellow teachers, it would be time to implement the new Drop Everything and Read Time structure into the classrooms. A certified classroom teacher will oversee the reading during Drop Everything and Read, and play classical music for the students participating in the classical reading group. Teachers would ensure students stay focused and use the entire amount of the reading time provided and read the book assigned to students for this time. Students would participate in 30 minutes of Drop Everything and Read 3 times a week over 9 weeks. After the third session of Drop Everything and Read, on the 9th week, students would retake the STAR test. One group, the classical reading group, taking the test while classical music is still playing. After gathering all the data, I would begin to analyze it. The next section of the action plan is the internal and external validity. A highly qualified and state licensed teacher would be the one responsible for the Drop Everything and Read time within their classroom each time. The assessment used for the data is one that had been approved by the state. It's used across the nation and is proven to forecast future state test performance accurately, this being the STAR reading exam. For the ethical considerations, STAR scores will remain confidential. Only those within the local school that are certified to view STAR scores would be allowed to see the data. Parental rights and consent would also be a necessity of ethical consideration to include. I would be forthcoming with all the information pertaining to their students' involvement in the study, as well as receive approval of their consent for their student to participate in the study. The results, connection of the data, would be the connection between the data provided and the increased achievement of the students' STAR reading scores. The purpose of this study is to solve the issue of such a low population reaching this benchmark and to see if the variable implemented in the study, being that of classical music during Drop Everything and Read Time, was able to solve the issue. To determine if the variable studied was successful in solving the problem would be to see if STAR achievement scores increased in the students who had classical music playing in the background during the Drop Everything and Read time and the assessment, compared to those who did not have classical reading time and their achievement scores. My reflections on this study after reviewing it again have definitely brought up some questions. I began this study, or the proposal for this study, in stage 1 about a year ago, and it's now February 2022, and there have been some things after reviewing this study that I had proposed that I would consider changing. I question the ability of teachers to mirror the exact same setup of Drop Everything and Read Time in each class. If I change something about the study, it would be that the same teacher administers this period of time, Drop Everything and Read Time, each day to ensure the exact same setup. I believe it would also be beneficial to separate those who receive special education services and those who do not into 2 separate studies to see how each population responds to the study individually. Thank you for listening to this presentation, and I hope this project was informational and beneficial to all who review it. I've enjoyed completing both Stage 1 and Stage 2 of this project and appreciate all of the feedback and support from my instructors at the University of West Alabama.